are being recorded for the convenience of those unable to attend this meeting. Recording and closed captioning will be posted to the BERS YouTube channel following the meeting. Alex, could you please call the roll?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
30 yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chair. Karina Poland?
Here.
Thank you. Phoebe Shade Arnold? Hazina Zad?
Here.
Thank you. Aaron Bogard? Janelle Chacon? Lily Chan? Marjorie Dienstag? Thank you. Amy Fair? Gregory Faulkner?
Present.
Thank you. Anita Garcia? Anthony Giordano?
Present.
Thank you. Angela Green?
She's on her way. She's here.
Okay, fantastic. Naveed Hassan?
Present.
Thank you. Alice Hall?
Here.
Thank you. Allison Hirsch?
Present on behalf of Controller Bradlander.
Thank you. Michelle Joseph? Jessamine Lee?
Here.
Thank you. John Maderick? Thank you. Donald Nesbitt?
Present.
Thank you. Alan Ong? Amiri Salas Ramirez? Thank you. Mahisha Sath?
Present.
Thank you. Thomas Shepard?
Present.
Thank you. Venus Zitang? Gladys Ward? Ephraim Zachary?
Present.
Thank you.
Alex, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Alex. The first item on the agenda is calendar item number 1, noting of the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Retirement held on September 26, 2023. May I have a motion to consider, please?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Thank you, Co-Chair Nesbitt. Thank you, Trustee Zachary. Is there any discussion on minutes? Hearing none. When I call out all in favor, if you wish to vote in favor of approving the minutes, please respond in favor. Similarly, if you wish to oppose or abstain from the vote, please respond accordingly when I call out any opposed or any abstentions. All in favor of approving the minutes for September 26th, please respond in favor.
In favor.
Aye.
In favor. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the Executive Director's update. Sandy, do you have any remarks for us?
Thank you, Chair Shepherd. Can we note that Angela Green is here, please?
Thank you.
Thank you. So update on hiring. We're still 25 headcount open. Recall that we were given 30 headcount for the fiscal 2024 year, and hiring is slow. We're having difficulty, both compensation levels and available people to apply for the positions. I will keep this up for you, but this rolls into the next item for us for a conversation that will extend for another month. It's a budget request from the mayor's office and OMB. I received a call over the weekend. They're asking us to voluntarily cut our budget 5%. So you have a little bit of history. Every time the mayor has asked for budget cuts, we have generally complied. We will put together a proposal for November's board meeting on what we think we can do to accommodate this 5% cut request. I would remind trustees, we are not a mayoral agency. We are not obligated to do this, but we do have a history of supporting the city when they ask us for that support. And again, we will, our Director of Fiscal Operations, Chitra Subramanian, will work with the executive team, and we will put together a proposal for everyone to review in November, and we will probably ask trustees to vote on it at that time. We've had considerable difficulty onboarding our disability medical staff, very considerable. It almost looks like an impossibility to me at this point. This may be part of where we will save some money. We've opened up negotiations with the Department of Education on utilizing their medical boards. History of our relationship with the DOE's medical board is fraught. It didn't work out very well 3 years ago. They actually fired us, but they have new leadership, and we have opened up conversations with them, and we are hopeful because we have a backlog of disability cases that we cannot process. We do not have our own medical board. Something important to consider for the next few months. We have the public market weakness that everyone's aware of has led to difficulty in our recent alternate asset allocations. We've created a situation where our investment portfolio is over allocated to alternatives. These are illiquid fund investments and they cannot be sold, which puts pressure on all our public positions. Specifically, as of October 16th, private equity is at 12.5% versus our target of 9%. Real estate is at 9% versus our target of 8%. Infrastructure is at 4.2% against our target of 4%. And if you assume the pipeline of transactions that are being proposed by the Bureau of Asset Management is approved, and the markets do nothing but stay flat for the next 6 months, those overages go to 13% for PE, 10% for real estate, and 6% for infrastructure. Now, we have discussed this. We can continue to make investments that put us over our allocation if we're within the band of error around our allocation, which we are. But trustees must acknowledge that what they're doing is deciding to invest more money than the asset allocation that they voted on in September. We will propose, we're working with Steve Meyer and the Controller's Office on a presentation for November to discuss what this means going forward. Because based on our analysis, it could take us years to get back to the target allocations if the markets don't take a wild jump up. And it could put us easily in violation of the basket if it falls dramatically. So something to be aware of as you vote for these investments today, specifically Cortland, will actually put us excessively over our real estate allocation. We can do it though. Yes, Effie.
What's our next exit point in any of them?
Years away. We will see cash flows from many of these investments, but years away. One of the complications we have two complications, 3 actually. Public markets are weak, right? Denominator effect where the liquids have actually done pretty well or not gone down, therefore the percentages jumped. Also, we are an upside down fund. You know, we pay out $360 million a year. We get in last year about $260 million, plus the leverage effect on our TDA costs us about $25 million a year, or I'm sorry, $250 million a year. So we are upside down about $360 million a year, and that gets worse every year until 2032, and it could be as much as $500 million negative outflows, no inflow. So this is a problem we will be talking about for the next few years. And we'll have a plan, hopefully in November, to discuss how we will address this going forward.
Same.
Hang on, can we, I just want to let Sandy finish his comments and then we can get to questions. Thank you. Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay, like I said, we can continue to improve these investments. It'll be acknowledged in our resolutions that we're making a decision to go excess of the target. And then we will put together a plan so that there's a good governance trail about how we made these decisions. We may actually end up voting on a new asset allocation. Okay, actually, opportunities for trustee education, National Association of Security Professional Symposium, November 14th and 15th in New York. Followed the next day by the Controllers, Emerging Managers Conference. I would encourage, it's a nice actual 3-day event. You might want to consider attending. We have some trustees who already signed up. Korean Trustee Educational Conference in January, mid-January, 16th to 19th. This is a conference we recommend. It's smaller. It brings in trustees from across the country. It's an opportunity to get to know other trustees and get an education on specific asset classes. It's run by a woman that I used to do business with many years ago as an asset manager. Very good organization. Also, NYCBERS has a legislative conference in January 2022 to 24, coupled with a specific communication summit, which we will send our MCU director and deputy director to. This is about improving communications between systems, their members, and retirees. And as always, Karen can be helpful for registration if anyone would like to be involved in those activities. And we reimburse all expenses for those. Do you want me to take questions?
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. Tony, you had a question for,
Yeah, just a bit, we now have the cash as an asset class. Can we utilize the cash as maybe an overlay strategy to alleviate?
I wouldn't advise that, because at 50 basis points of cash, we pay out 25 basis points a month, pretty much. So, actually, they're gonna be refreshing the cash faster than we would be spending it, probably. This is a problem that's accumulated over the last few months as the markets have not gone up. I mean, as the markets can stay flat and we still develop a problem.
The cash that we do get from the illiquid investments, are they reinvested in the liquid investments or they stay in our cash?
Generally, no, when we get a distribution from one of our PE investments, it's a distribution that goes into cash. It is not committed. I don't think I can say that about the KKR relationship, but all the other PE funds are independent. So once we fund them, any money that comes out comes into the cash kitty. It's for future investment. I don't know if Vanessa want to add to that or Ashley, you want to comment on that, our consultants, but.
Sandy, I have a question. I know you said that, we are considering voluntarily, complying with the mayor's, like budget cut proposal. I guess my question is, how do we cut 5% in an organization that's short-staffed?
No,
And like short-staffed to the point where we're having ongoing issues providing service to our members.
that's why we will propose it to trustees, because I would rather service our members, but historically, we've always responded to the mayor's request for this. And there are opportunities in our budget to save. I think when we go to the DOE medical staff, we will save some money there. The fact that we're having problems hiring, right? I would be surprised if we, on average, over the year, we were 5% short our headcount, which will give us some flexibility. It doesn't bode well for the following fiscal year, but it could be something we could leverage here.
And I think, this is a quick follow-up. I think, I'm also concerned about that because, under the mayor's, peg, this 5% is literally the first of three, right? And, again, if we're in a position where, we are short-staffed and now we're looking at trying to figure out how to cut 15% over the course of this year, out of our budget, I'm just concerned, that could have, very significant consequences. And I'm just, maybe we can have more dialogue around what this will look like, but, ultimately, I don't want to see any cuts happen in a way, that further, impacts members.
And recall, we are funded from the corpus of the pensions and not on the mayor's budget, which is why we are independent. And it is definitely a possibility. Trustees will look at our proposal and say, no. I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Fair enough, thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes, Suzanne.
Remind me, Sandy, when are we changing the onboarding route for membership from into?
Well, hopefully the governor signs that. As Donald, any new news?
The
Who's the
bill,
question?
when are we changing to auto enrollment
Yes.
for pensioners? It's a wait and a signature from the governor. We do have a online petition that we started today, in light of the school crossing guard that got killed the other day. She never enrolled in a pension. So her family receives no benefits from the retirement system. And so every interview that you saw me do since Friday, I've mentioned the bill. And I said, this is more of a push for the governor to sign this bill. I sent today to the mayor's office, to Mayor Adams for him to send a letter from the city. The city traditionally has said, we don't oppose, but we won't write a letter. I told him last night at the candlelight visual that if he wants to help and make sure that this school crossing guard's life isn't in vain, that a letter should be sent to the governor to sign. So we're optimistic and pushing forward, but all of us as a collective should be calling the governor's office to push to get this done.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason I ask that, given that we have substantial push and then the government, how does that impact, for example, the cuts that we're gonna face and then also the allocation that we might be making? In the future, saying that there's output, that there's input. If you could explain both of this.
It would, so, the actuary's estimate, I'm recalling, and Merrick, if you want to engage, please do. My recollection of the estimate the actuary gave was that it would cost a $25 million increase annually to the contributions from the city to our system. The auto enrollment pressure on us will be to manage the communications. We are preparing we've already had a series of reach outs to people who are not enrolled, trying to get them to enroll pre-auto enrollment legislation, assuming it wouldn't go through. But once it's passed, we would have a campaign that would reach out to major locations, coordinated mostly through the locals, to reach people, to inform them what this means, so they're not horrified to see there's a deduction coming from their paycheck that they don't understand. Budget cut in the next 2 years would impact our ability to do that probably, because we would, the last thing we would not want to do is process retirements. Someone who's auto enrolled, they may be the first people we don't talk to just because it's gonna happen to them no matter what, and whether they know what's happening or not. Our call center will be able to respond, but that's probably one place we would consider cutting, that area, because it's outreach to inform people about something's gonna happen.
So I argue that we could take this into grave consideration as we determine whether or not 5% 3 times over is something that is appropriate for this system.
Well, we'll give you all the details on that in a month so that you can decide.
I think I want to echo the concern and a request that if you have done this before, if there's any information on how you've navigated this before in terms of.
We can't hear you down here.
We can't hear you. So maybe you can reiterate.
So
She's asked for the background information about how we've navigated requests like this before. We can share that. Absolutely, we will share that.
we have been in spaces where they've asked us to consider what kind of cuts could be made without specifics. So as much specifics as you can give us, so we can make an informed decision, that would be appreciated.
We will give you line item specifics.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, the question of auto enrollment and I'm assuming we have, the board has taken, have we ever sent a letter or taken a position on this as a board, as a trustee board?
Yes.
I mean, we have, I thought we did.
Yeah.
In the current request for the governor to sign. Okay.
Although the lead's been taken by the locals and their staff. I mean, we supported them wherever we could.
Thank you. So, again, thank you, Sandy. So I want to move to the next items on the agenda. So, those are calendar items 2 through 17, the ordinary business of BERS. May I have a motion, please, to consider calendar items 2 to 17? Thank you, Donald. Second. Thank you, John. Let's see, Alex, could you please tell us about the ordinary business of BERS?
Yes, these are all the retirement funds and death benefits that have been processed since the last meeting of this board.
Thank you, Alex. We will now vote on these items. All in favor of approving calendar items 2 to 17, please indicate your approval.
In favor.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion carries. The next item for this afternoon's meeting is in attorney-client session. Karen, can you please turn off the recording?
Recording has started.
All right. So, At this point, may I have a motion to consider calendar item 18?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to table this until next month's meeting. So we have an opportunity to review everything a little bit more and perhaps resolve some of the legal issues in that time.
I second that motion.
Thank you. So, Tony has a motion to table calendar item 18 until next month's meeting, and Effie second that. So at this time, we're gonna vote on the motion to table. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
But, Mr. Chair, could I make a request, and this would be to the controller, that in anticipation of us considering this next month, possibly we could have a conversation with the controller's office to talk about how we could realize some of the goals that we had in the original resolution. Along with-
presenting today.
No, I realize that. I realize, but if there was a need for a further meeting, could we would there be a possibility that we could?
I think,
It's about
I
implementation.
want to speak to I'll speak for the investment team, the controller's office, we're happy to meet anytime. I will say that what Taffy has done is spent the last 6 months trying to develop a series of anticipated goal implementation plan, and it is unlikely that beyond that implementation plan, there's going to be much we could do beyond that, with obviously it's open to feedback, et cetera, but I just want to be mindful of like the months and months of work Taffy
I'm
and the
expecting that.
team has put in, and I think
Appreciate
that is really how the implementation. And this.
So the next item on the agenda belongs in executive session. May I have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, so,
Second.
all right, so Tony and Donald, thank you. All those in favor of moving into executive session? In favor. In favor. In favor.
Aye. Garcia says aye.
Any abstentions? All right, the motion carries. Karen, please turn off the recording.
We are back in public session. Alex, can you please report out the board's actions during executive session, please?
Yes, during executive session, the board voted to approve calendar item 19, authorization of the controller of the city of New York to commit a portion of the real assets portfolio.
Thank you, Alex. That will conclude our agenda because we lost quorum. And the next meeting is to be scheduled on November 21st.
Board meeting.
Board meeting is on the 21st.
Coming up earlier.
Executive is on the 9th. I will not be here for that one, sorry. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Tony, in a second.
Um,
Celine, thank you so much. All in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Get home safe.